peach preserves. To begin, you will need Sure-Jell, which is also known as fruit pectin, lemon juice, butter, sugar, jars, including the new flats, and peaches. There are a few optional items that you can have, and I'll show you those in just a second. So this is known as a jar funnel. This is a wooden spoon and a ladle. The wooden spoon is pretty particular. You will need that. This is what we call a meat masher. You could also use a potato smusher. I don't know what the correct terminology for it is. And we have my trusty oven mitt. You're going to need a measuring cup. Okay, this is how I do my jars. You can do them a different way. This is called water bathing. So as you can see, the bottom is a casserole dish. I find that it's easier to work with than a traditional pot. I filled the casserole dish with water. I put my jars in, and then I fill my jars with water. My heat for the eye that they're sitting on is going to be between medium and high. So right in between there. So right about there. And then we're going to turn on our peaches. So there are multiple different ways to peel your peaches. Depending on how ripe they are, if they're extremely ripe, you can just pull the skin right off of them. If they are not ripe at all, you can actually use a potato peeler. I was unaware of that until recently. And you can also use the traditional method where you boil the peaches and then put them in an ice bath directly after, and then the skin is supposed to come right off. So here you see me putting in the lemon juice. The correct amount is supposed to be 2 tablespoons, but I don't measure and there's about 4.5 cups. 4.5 cups of peaches and juice in the bottom of the pot. And then you're going to want to put 1 tablespoon of butter. This is going to keep your peaches from foaming. And then you're going to put a packet of Sure-Jell, which again is pectin. And then you're going to give it a good stir. And you're going to give it time for the butter to melt. And as soon as you start to see these bubbles, you're ready to add the sugar. Okay, this is a lot of sugar. I realize that. So per 4 to 4.5 cups of peaches, you're going to put 5 to 5.5 cups of sugar. I do not make the rules. I do not make the recipe. It is a lot of sugar, but I promise you it will turn out exactly how it's supposed to. So you're going to add your sugar and give it a good stir. And it's going to look like it's not going to combine properly, but I promise it will. After you have stirred it, you can see my peaches. After you have stirred it, your peaches and the nectar will look like almost like the color of honey. You let it boil for about anywhere from 12 to 17 minutes. I know that's a large window, but it's just depending on the peaches. Once they're golden brown, like a honey color, then they're ready to pour up. So now you're going to see me pour my peaches into my jars. Now, we put hot peaches into hot jars. You do not put hot peaches into cold jars because then you risk busting the jars. And something I need to point out that I didn't point out at the beginning of the video. If you see these silver circles in my water bath, those are the flats that belong to the jars. So you boil them as well as water bathing the jars. And you see everything's boiling. My peaches are boiling. My water for my jars is boiling. Everything is hot. You're going to put your funnel on, and then you're going to use your ladle. Now, this is a half-pint jar. I've found that a half-pint jar usually takes around 2 ladles. And you don't want to get it too full because if it overflows, I've never had it to happen, but I feel like it would be a very large mess. Now, you're seeing me wipe the jar with my finger. This is not standard practice. My Meemaw taught me how to make jelly and peach preserves, and the way that she does it is using her finger. Now, I have tried using a cheesecloth to wipe my rims down, but what I've found is you cannot feel where there is because if there's a sticky part on the rim and you put the flat, it will not seal. So I've found that it works best with just your finger. So if you ever eat any Southern food, 9 times out of 10, they've used their fingers. So I'll wipe it down with my finger. Then I'm going to take my hot flat, place it on the jar. You don't have to dry it off or anything. Then you get your ring, and you're going to tighten it up as tight as you can possibly get it. Then you're going to put it on a towel, cover it up, and it's going to seal off. Now, while it seals, you'll be able to hear like a popping noise. And the way that you know that your flat is sealed is there will not be a bubble on the top of the flat. It'll be completely flat. Once you're done making them, you're going to want to label them. Some people put the exact date. I always put just the year because I make a lot of canned items. And then that is how you create your very own peach preserves. Happy canning!